Oh, hi. Oh, it is very late. Hi, everybody. Not late actually. It's actually right on. No, not kind of right on time. It's still pretty late because I'm looking at the clock right now. It's like 3:05. Hello, everybody. Uh, can't see the chat numbers, but if you're here and lurking, welcome to my reading stream. It's been a while since I've had one of these properly, cause yeah, I don't really I guess I don't really I don't really pay attention to the reading streams because sometimes I get like, well, I always wonder like what am I supposed to do with them. So yeah, hi everybody. Eiten Dylus here. Today we're gonna be doing another reading stream. We're gonna be doing another reading stream. Yeah, basically, we'll be covering Ender's Game as usual. And I don't know, today is gonna be running until Okay, this thing's not attacking my mouth. Okay, I'm just gonna put this higher. Okay, yeah, that did not work. I'm gonna put this higher up so that at least you can see me moving my mouth. Anyway, we're not gonna do much today. It's gonna be until 4:30 as usual, and for this one, we're gonna re-end this game. And the last time we stopped off at Rat Army, so that's chapter 8 of Ender's Game. So if you haven't caught up to Ender's Game just yet, uh, go watch my last few streams or read the synopsis until you find something about Rat Army, and then yes. I hope you guys are doing okay. It's a pretty slow Saturday afternoon. Also, my eyes keep closing. I'm gonna be. Oh my god, everything in my room is dusty. Dust, dust, dust. Yeah, this is one of those days where I would like to say I feel like the word reading streams are not really working out, but you know what? That's okay. That is completely fine with me because I just literally want to read a book while everyone is here. So yeah, I didn't make any prior announcement to this, so hold on, I forgot to put this up here. There you go. This is the book we're gonna be reading today. This is gonna be Ender's Game, and we're gonna be reading through the entirety of Rat Army chapter. Depending on how long it takes, the whole chapter might actually just be one book. It might actually just be one stream. So do prepare yourselves. It's gonna take a while. And if you're new to the reading stream, you can always just see this reading stream instructions up here. So, if you're new, welcome. This is how it progresses. This is fairly a rough progression. See, it's like I'll read the selected story uninterrupted for a chapter. After the chapter ends, I'll take a 5 minutes break to regain breath, and that's it. Although it doesn't really apply to end this game because now I just realized the what's it called? I just realized the what should I call it already? The okay, my brain is dying already. What I meant to say was what's it called already? The the chapters are getting pretty long already, so it's gonna take some time. And usually I like to offer some insights on the chapter I was reading, but nowadays with the chapters being quite long, I kind of forget about the content. It doesn't mean the book is bad. No, it actually just means I have I don't know how you say it. I just kind of lose track of mine. So, it is 6 minutes in, and it's now 3:08. So I'm gonna take another swig of water. Hold on. Oh, I just water on my table. All right, there we go. So, I'm gonna take this good swig of warm water. I have not been having salt shot, but I have been out of breath lately because I haven't been exercising. So, and we will continue on to Rat Army. All right, let's see. And then for that we're gonna use a little bit of Sky's Unknown soundtrack. Let me see if I can find it. No, this is Arma. I've been scripting for Arma for long times. And yeah, I have been just busy with that. Okay, let me just okay. There you go. Or do you guys want this song or do you want something else? Maybe no. I think this will do. This will do. I Skies Unknown fits with the spaceship scene. So let's just not delay too much. Let's jump right into it. Okay. Thought my throat's just gone. Okay. All right. Here we go, viewers. Chronograph. The games have always been ran fairly before, either random distribution of stars or symmetrical. Fairness is a wonderful attribute, Major Anderson. It has nothing to do with war. The game will be compromised. The comparative standings will become meaningless. Alas. It will take months, years, to develop the new battle rooms and run the simulations. That's why I'm asking you now to begin. Be creative. Think of every stacked, impossible, unfair star arrangement you can. Think of other ways to bend the rules. Late notification, unequal forces. Then run the simulations and see which ones are hardest. Which easiest? We want an intelligent progression here. We want to bring him along. When do you plan to make him a commander? When he's 8? Of course not. I haven't assembled his army yet. Oh, so you're stacking it that way too. You're getting too close to the game, Anderson. You're forgetting that it's merely a training exercise. It's also status, identity, purpose. Oh, okay. Name. All that makes these children who they are comes out of this game. When it becomes known that the game can be manipulated, weighted, cheated, it will undo this whole school. I'm not exaggerating. So I know. So I hope Ender Wiggin truly is the one, because you'll have degraded the effectiveness of our training method for a long time to come. If Ender isn't the one, if his peak of military brilliance does not coincide with the arrival of our fleet at the bugger homeworlds, then it doesn't really matter what our training method is or isn't. I hope you will forgive me, Chronograph, but I feel I must report your orders and my opinion of the consequences to the strategos and the hegemon. Why not our dear Polemarch? Everyone knows you have him in your pocket. Such hostility, Major Anderson. And I thought we were friends. We are. And I think you may be right about Ender. I just don't believe you. And you alone should decide the fate of the world. I don't even think it's right for me to decide the fate of the world. Fate of Ender Wiggin. So you won't mind if I notify them? Of course I mind, you meddlesome ass. This is something to be decided by people who know what they're doing. Not these frightened politicians who got their office because they happen to be politically potent in the country they come from. But you understand why I'm doing it. Because you're such a short-sighted little bureaucratic bastard that you think you need to cover yourself in case things go wrong. Well, if things go wrong, we'll all be bugger meat. So trust me now, Anderson, and don't bring the whole damn hegemony down on my neck. What I'm doing is hard enough without them. Oh, is it unfair? Are things stacked against you? You can do it to Ender, but you can't take it. Is that it? Ender Wiggin is 10 times smarter and stronger than I am. What I'm doing to him will bring out his genius. If I had to go through it myself, it would crush me, Major Anderson. I know I'm wrecking the game, and I know you love it better than any of the boys who play. Hate me be you like, but don't stop me. I reserve the right to communicate with the hegemony and strategoid at any time, but for now, do what you want. Thank you so very kindly. So we got off to a good start, and already seeing the tensions between the two leading characters. Take a small swig. Not a lot, but you know, it's safer to take a drink of water now and then. There we go. That's good. That's good. My nose is not entirely clogged up, but you know, I just been feeling quite lethargic lately, so I guess it's work. I'm really sorry if I can't just fill up the time with something, but you know, I guess just things like that happen. I'll increase the volume. Alright, so here we go. Now we actually begin Rat Army from Ender's perspective. Ender Wiggin, the little fart head who leads the standings. What a pleasure to have you with us. The commander of Rat Army lay sprawled on a lower bunk wearing only his desk. A view around, how can any army lose? Several of the boys nearby laughed. There could not have been two more opposite armies than Salamander and Rat. The room was rumpled, cluttered, noisy. After Bonzo, Ender had thought that an undisciplined would be a welcome relief. Instead, He found that he had come to expect quiet and order, and the disorder here made him uncomfortable. We're doing okay in the bender. I, Rose the Nose, Jew boy extraordinaire, and you ain't nothing but a pinprick of a goy. Don't you forget it. Since the IF was formed, the strategos of the military forces had always been a Jew. There was a myth that Jewish generals didn't lose wars, and so far it was still true. It made any Jew in the battle school dream of being the strategos, and conferred prestige on him from the start. It also caused resentment. Rat Army was often called the Kite Force, half in praise, half in parody of Mesorakam's Strike Force. There were many who liked to remember that during the second invasion, even though an American Jew as president was hegemon of the alliance, an Israeli Jew was strategos in overall command of IF defense, and a Russian Jew was Polemarch of the fleet. It was Mesorakam, a little known, twice court-martialed, half Maori New Zealander, whose strike force broke up and finally destroyed the bugger fleet in the action around Saturn. If Mesorakam could save the world, then it didn't matter a bit whether you were a Jew or not, people said. But it did matter, and Rose the Nose knew it. He mocked himself to forestall the mocking comments of anti-Semites. Almost everyone he defeated in battle became, at least for a time, a Jew hater. But he also made sure everyone knew what he was. His army was in second place, bucking for first. I took you on, Goy, because I didn't want people to think I only win because I got great soldiers. I want them to know that even with a little punk of a soldier like you, I can still win. We only got 3 rules here. Do what I tell you, and don't piss on the bit. Ender nodded. He knew that Rose wanted him to ask what the third rule was. So he did. That was 3 rules. We don't do too good in math here. The message was clear. Winning is more important than anything. Your practice sessions with half-assed little launchies are over, Wigan. Done. You're in a big boys army now. I'm putting you in Dink Meeker's tomb. From now on, as far as you're concerned, Dink Meeker is God. Then who are you? The personnel officer who hired God. Rose grinned. And you are forbidden to use your desk again until you've frozen 2 enemy soldiers in the same battle. This order is out of self-defense. I hear you're a genius programmer. I don't want you screwing around with my desk. Everyone erupted in laughter. It took Ender a moment to understand why. Rose had programmed his desk to display and animate a bigger-than-life-size picture of male genitals, which waggled back and forth as Rose held the desk on his naked lap. This is just the sort of commander Bonzo would train me to, thought Ender. How does a boy who spent his time like this win battles? Ender found Dink Meeker in the game room, not playing, just sitting and watching. A guy pointed you out, Ender said. I'm Ender Wigan. I know, said Meeker. I'm in your tune. I know, he said again. I'm pretty inexperienced. Dink looked up to him. Look, Wigan, I know all this. Why do you think I asked Rose to get you for me? He had not been dumped. He had been picked up. He had been asked for. Meeker wanted him. Why? Asked Ender. I've watched your practice sessions with the launchies. I think you should promise. Bonzo is stupid and I wanted you to get better training than Petra could give you. All she can do is shoot. I needed to learn that. You still move like you're afraid to wet your pants. So teach me. So learn. I'm not gonna quit my free time practice sessions. I don't want you to quit them. Rose the Nose does. Rose the Nose can't stop you. Likewise, he can't stop you from using your desk. So why did he order it? Listen, Ender, commanders have just as much authority as you let them have. The more you obey them, the more power they have over you. What's to stop them from hurting me? Ender remembered Bonzo's blow. I thought that was why you were taking personal attack classes. You've really been watching me, haven't you? Dink didn't answer. I don't want Rose to get mad. I don't want to get Rose mad at me. I want to be the part of the battles now. I'm tired of sitting out till the end. Your standings will go down. This time, Ender didn't answer. Listen, Ender. As long as you're part of my tune, you're a part of the battle. Ender soon learned why. Dink trained his toon independently from the rest of Rat Army with discipline and vigor. He never consulted with Rose, and only rarely did the whole army maneuver together. It was as if Rose commanded one army, and Dink commanded a much smaller one that happened to practice in the battle room at the same time. Dink started out the first practice by asking Ender to demonstrate his feet-first attack position. The other boys didn't like it. How could we attack laying on our backs? They asked. To Ender's surprise, Dink didn't correct them. Didn't say you weren't attacking on your back. You were dropping downward toward them. He had seen what Ender was doing, but he had not understood the orientation that it implied. It soon became clear to Ender that even though Dink was very good, his persistence in holding on to the corridor gravity orientation instead of thinking of the enemy gate as downward was limiting his thinking. They practiced attacking an enemy-held star. Before trying Ender's feet-first methods, he had always gone in standing up, their whole bodies available as a target. Even now though, they reached the star and then assaulted the enemy from one direction only. Over the top, cried Dink, and over they went. To his credit, he then repeated the exercise, calling, again, upside down. But because of their insistence on a gravity that didn't exist, the boys became awkward when the maneuver was under, as if vertigo seized them. They hated the feet first attack. Dink insisted that they use it. As a result, they hated Ender. Do we have to learn how to fight from a lunchie? One of them muttered, making sure Ender could hear. Yeah, answered Dink. They kept working, and they learned it. In practice skirmishes, they began to realize how much harder it was to shoot an enemy who was attacking feet first. As soon as they were convinced of that, they practiced the maneuver more willingly. That night was the first time Ender had come to one of his launchy practice sessions after a whole afternoon of work. He was tired. Now you're really in an army, said Ally. You don't have to keep practicing with us. Right? Give me a second, that's the end of the page, but I do feel... yeah, I know the instructions kind of said I was gonna do chapters, but I think at this time it's not tenable, especially with how long the chapters are. And I do foresee that it might be better overall to just, you know... Okay, I'm just gonna... Yeah, I'm a bit sleepy, but that's okay. After this, I'll probably take a nap. Ah, there we go. That's much better. You guys are doing good. Oh, okay, more Halo Infinite stuff. Actually, the curious thing is, let's not talk about it again. Let's talk about Halo Infinite because I actually got everything for the battle. I got everything for the battle pass and all the weekly challenges. I actually don't have anything to do, so that's kind of why. I think I recently discovered a new issue. I hope they correct it. I'm pretty sure they will correct it soon. It's like, I hope they give us some more daily challenges because I only have one and it gives me like 50 XP. That's like super bad, and that's not tenable at all. But whatever it is, I hope it gets fixed. Because right now, yeah, I'm a bit poopy. Bit pooped out. I can still play Halo, but it's not really tenable, I guess. But you know what, that's just okay. Alright, so oh, sorry, I accidentally joined someone's Discord. Probably apply for like a long chapters. If it's a short chapter, I'll probably just finish it to the end. But I still do realize that I need to back off and, you know, take a swig of water because reading really takes a thing out of your throat. So page 163. From you I can learn things that nobody knows, said Ender. Think Meeker is the best. I heard he's your platoon leader. He's a toon leader. Then let's get busy. I'll teach you what I learned from him today. He put Ally and 2 dozen others through the same exercises that had worn him out all afternoon. But he put new touches on the patterns, made the boys try the maneuvers with one leg frozen, with both legs frozen, or using frozen boys for leverage to change direction. Halfway through the practice, Ender noticed Petra and Dink standing together, standing in the doorway, watching. Later, when he looked again, they were gone. So they're watching me, and what we're doing is known. He did not know whether Dink was his friend. He believed that Petra was, but nothing could be sure. They might be angry that he was doing what only commanders and toon leaders were supposed to do, drilling and training soldiers. They might be offended that a soldier would associate so closely with launches. It made him uneasy to have older children watching. I thought I told you not to use your desk. Rose the Nose stood by Ender's bunk. Ender did not look up. I'm completing the trigonometry assignment for tomorrow. Rose bumped his knee into Ender's desk. Said not to use it. Ender set the desk on his bunk and stood up. I need trigonometry more than I need you. Rose was taller than Ender by at least 40 centimeters, but Ender was not particularly worried. It would not come to physical violence, and if it did, Ender thought he could hold his own. Rose was lazy and did not know personal combat. You're going down in the standings, boy, said Rose. I expect to. I was only leading the list because of the stupid way a Salamander army was using me. Stupid? Bonzo's strategy won a couple of key games. Bonzo's strategy wouldn't win a salad fight. I was violating orders every time I fired my gun. Rose hadn't known that. It made him angry. So everything Bonzo has said about you was a lie. You're not only short and incompetent, you're insubordinate too. But I turned a defeat into a stalemate all by myself. We'll see how you do all by yourself next time. Rose went away. One of Ender's toonmates shook his head. You dumb as a thumb. Ender looked at Dink, who was doodling on his desk. Dink looked up, noticed Ender was watching him, and gazed steadily back at him. No expression. Nothing. Okay, thought Ender. I can take care of myself. My dog went somewhere else. Sorry. Battle came 2 days later. It was Ender's first time fighting as a part of a toon. He was nervous. Dink's toon lined up against the right-hand wall of the corridor, and Ender was very careful not to lean, not to let his weight slip to either side. Stay balanced. Wait! Called Rose the Nose. Ender felt dread come over him from throat to groin, a tingle of fear that made him shudder. Rose saw it. Shivering, trembling, don't wet your pants, little launchy. Rose hooked a finger over the butt of Ender's gun and pulled him to the force field that hid the battle room from view. We'll see how well you do now, Ender. As soon as that door opens, you jump through, go straight ahead towards the enemy's door. Suicide. Pointless. Meaningless self-destruction. But he had to follow orders now. This was battle, not school. For a moment, Ender raged silently. Then he calmed himself. Excellent, sir. The direction I fire my gun is the direction of their main contingent. Rose laughed. You won't have time to fire anything, pinprick. The wall vanished. Ender jumped up, took hold of the ceiling handholds, and threw himself out and down, speeding towards the enemy door. It was centipede army, and they only began to emerge from their door when Ender was halfway across the battle room. Many of them were able to get under cover of stars quickly, but Ender had doubled up his legs under him, and holding his pistol at his crotch, he was firing between the legs and freezing many of them as they emerged. They flashed his leg, but he had 3 precious seconds before they could hit his body and put him out of action. He froze several more, then flung out his arms in equal and opposite directions. The arm that held his gun ended up pointing towards the main body of Centipede army. He fired into the mass of the enemy, and then they froze him. A second later, he smashed into the force field of the enemy door and rebounded with a crazy spin. He landed in a group of enemy soldiers behind the star. They shoved him off and spun him even more rapidly. He rebounded out of control through the rest of the battle, though gradually friction with the air slowed him down. He had no way of knowing how many men he had frozen before getting iced himself, but he did get the general idea that Red Army won again, as usual. After the battle, Rose didn't speak to him. Ender was still first in the standings, since he had frozen 3, disabled 2, and damaged 7. There was no more talk about Insult of the Nation and whether Ender could use his desk. Rose stayed in his part of the barracks and left Ender alone. Dink began to practice instant emergence from a corridor. Ender's attack on the enemy while they were still coming out of the door had been devastating. If one man can do that much damage, think what a toon can do. Dink got Major Anderson to open a door in the middle of a wall, even during practice sessions, instead of just a floor-level door, so they could go practice launching under battle conditions. Word got around. From now on, no one could take 5 or 10 or 15 seconds in the corridor to size things up. The game had changed. More battles. This time Ender played a proper role within the toon. He made mistakes. Skirmishes were lost. He dropped from 1st to 2nd in the standings, then to 4th. Then he made fewer mistakes and began to feel comfortable within the framework of the toon. And he went back up to 3rd, then 2nd, then 1st. Right? It's actually fun reading about how he adapts to dickweeds and like meats. It just kind of happens. Kind of good hindsight in that. Well, I wouldn't comment on the Jewish stereotype thing, but the whole chapter seems to be quite like the way the chapter progresses is quite interesting because most of these scenes I can gather happen over the course of weeks, and the sense of temporality is not really stated, but it's there. So, yeah, it's very interesting. And then, seemingly the constant trait is that horrible people are put in charge of the armies, which is something concerning for me. But I wouldn't live to comment about it, man. Maybe it's just how Ender's universe is like. It's just like everyone in charge are just like dickweeds. Okay, so let's take a stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it's slightly warmer now. I should probably turn on the aircon actually. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually beginning to feel quite sleepy, but that's okay. That's okay. Seriously, I am slightly yawning quite a fair bit. So let's see how long this chapter is. Page 167. After practice one afternoon, Ender stayed in the battle room. He had noticed that Dink Mitchell usually came late to dinner, and he assumed it was for extra practice. Ender wasn't very hungry, and he wanted to see what it was Dink practiced when no one else could see. But Dink didn't practice. He stood near the door, watching Ender. Ender stood across the room, watching Dink. Neither spoke. It was plain Dink expected Ender to leave. It was just as plain that Ender was saying no. Dink turned his back on Ender, methodically took off his flashlight, and gently pushed off from the floor. He drifted slowly toward the center of the room, very slowly. his body relaxing almost completely, so that his hands and arms seemed to be caught by almost non-existent air currents in the room. After the speed and tension of practice, the exhaustion, the alertness, it was restful just to watch him drift. He did it for 10 minutes or so before he reached another wall. Then he pushed off rather sharply, returned to his flash chute, and pulled it on. "Come on," he said to Ender. They went to the barracks. The room was empty since all the boys were entered. Each went to his own bunk and changed into regular uniforms. Ender walked to Dink's bunk and waited for a moment until Dink was ready to go. "Why do you wait?" asked Dink. "Wasn't hungry." "Well, now you know why I'm not a commander," Ender had wondered. "Actually, they promoted me twice, and I refused." "Refused?" "The second time they took away my old locker and bunk and desk, assigned me to a commander's cabin, and gave me an army. But I just stayed in the cabin until they gave in and put me back into somebody else's army." "Why?" "Because I won't let them do it to me." "Oh, I can't believe you haven't seen through all this crap yet, Ender. But I guess you're young. These other armies, they aren't the enemy. It's the teachers. They are their enemy. They get us to fight each other, to hate each other. The game is everything. Win, win, win. It amounts to nothing. We kill ourselves, go crazy, trying to beat each other, and all the time the old bastards are watching us, studying us, discovering our weak points, deciding whether we're good enough or not." "Well, good enough for what?" "I was 6 years old when they brought me here. What the hell did I know? They decided I was right for the program, but nobody ever asked me if the program was right for me. So why don't you go home?" Dink smiled crooked. "Because I can't give up the game." He tugged at the fabric of his flash suit, which lay on the bunk beside him. "Because I love this. So why not be a commander?" Dink shook his head. "Never. Look what it does to Rosen. The boy's crazy. Rose the nose. Sleeps in here with us instead of in his cabin. Why? Because he's scared to be alone, Ender. He's scared of the dark." "Rose? But they made him a commander and so he has to act like one. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's winning. But that scares him worst of all, because he doesn't know why he's winning, except that Ike has something to do with it. Any minute somebody could find out that Rosen isn't some magic Israeli general who can win no matter what. He doesn't know why anybody wins or loses. Nobody does. It doesn't mean he's crazy, Dink. I know. You've been here, you think these people are normal. Well, they're not. We're not. I look in the library. I call up books on my desk. Old ones, because they won't let us have anything new. But I've got a pretty good idea of what children are, and we're not children. Children can lose sometimes. Nobody cares. Children aren't in armies, and they aren't commanders. They don't rule over 40 other kids. It's more than anybody can take and not get crazy. Ender tried to remember what other children were like in his class at school, back in the city. But all he could think of was Stilson. I had a brother, just a normal guy. All he cared about was girls. And flying. He wanted to fly. He used to play ball with the guys. A pickup game, shooting balls at a hoop, dribbling down the corridors until the peace officers confiscated your ball. We had a great time. He was teaching me how to dribble when I was taken. Ender remembered his own brother, and the memory was not fond. Dink misunderstood the expression on Ender's face. Hey, I know nobody is supposed to talk about home, but we came from somewhere. The Battle School didn't create us, you know. The Battle School doesn't create anything. It just destroys. And we all remember things from home. Maybe not good things, but we remember them. Then we lie and pretend that. Look, Ender, why is it that nobody talks about home? Ever? Doesn't that tell you how important it is? That nobody even admits that. Oh hell. No, it's alright, Ender said. I was just thinking about Valentine, my sister. I wasn't trying to make you upset. It's okay. I don't think her very much, because I always get like this. That's right, we never cry. I never thought of that. Nobody ever cries. We really are trying to be adults, just like our fathers. I bet your father was like you. I bet he was quiet and took it, then busted out and... I'm not my father. So maybe I'm wrong. But look at Bonzo, your old commander. He's got an advanced case of Spanish honor. He can't allow himself to have weakness. To be better than him, that's an insult. To be stronger, that's like cutting off his balls. That's why he hates you, because you didn't suffer when he tried to punish you. He hates you for that. He honestly wants to kill you. He's crazy. Oh, okay. Okay, that was, it was playing, okay, there you go. Okay. My throat is getting toasted. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. I'm sorry if I'm really sorry if I look very lazy today, but I guess the job is taking quite a fair chunk out of me, so I really want to read more, but with how these reading streams are pretty niche, I might phase these out to just have more writing streams, I guess, because it doesn't seem to be working out. Alright, let's just finish up this chapter, and then after that, I can decide what to do. Maybe I'll just play a little game. And you aren't? I'd be crazy too, little bunny. But at least when I'd be crazy, I'd be floating all alone in space, and the crazy, she float out of me. She soak into the walls, and she don't come out till there be battles and little boys bump into the walls and squish out the crazy. Ender smiled. And you be crazy too. Ender said, think. Come on, let's go eat. Maybe you can be a commander and not be crazy. Maybe knowing about craziness means you don't have to fall for it. I'm not gonna let the bastards run me, Ender. They got you pegged too. And they don't plan to treat you kindly. Look what they've done to you so far. They haven't done anything except promote me. And she makes you life so easy, ne? Ender laughed and shook his head. So maybe you're right. They think they got you on ice. Don't let them. But that's what I came for, Ender said. For them to make me into a tool to save the world. I really can't believe you still believe it. Believe what? The bugger menace saved the world. Listen, Ender. If the buggers were coming back to get us, they'd be here. They aren't invading again. We beat them and they're gone. But the videos, all from the first and second invasions. Your grandparents weren't born yet when Mazer Rackham wiped them out. You watch. It's all a fake. There is no war. And they're just screwing around with us. But why? Because as long as people are afraid of the buggers, the IF can stay in power. And as long as the IF is in power, certain countries can keep their hegemony. But keep watching the vids, Ender. People will catch on to this game pretty soon, and there'll be a civil war to end all wars. That's the menace, Ender, not the buggers. And in that war, when it comes, you and I will be friends. Because you're American, just like our dear teachers, and I am not. They went to the mess hall and ate, talking about other things. But Ender cannot stop thinking about what Dink had said. The battle school was so enclosed, the game so important in the minds of the children, that Ender had forgotten there was a world outside. Spanish honor, civil war, politics? The battle school was really a very small place, wasn't it? But Ender did not reach Dink's conclusions. The buggers were real. The threat was real. The IF controlled a lot of things, but it didn't control the videos and the nets. Now where Ender had grown up, in Dink's home in the Netherlands with 3 generations under Russian hegemony, perhaps it was all controlled. But Ender knew that lies could not last long in America. So he believed. Believed, but the seed of doubt was there, and it stayed, and every now and then sent out a little root. It changed everything to have that seed growing. It made Ender listen more carefully to what people meant instead of what they said. It made him wise. There weren't as many boys at the evening practice, not by half. Where's Bernard? Asked Ender. Ali grinned. Shen closed his eyes and assumed a look of blissful meditation. Haven't you heard? Said another boy, a launchie from a younger group. Words out that any launchie who comes to your practice sessions won't ever amount to anything in anybody's army. Words out that the commanders don't want any soldiers who have been damaged by your training. Ender nodded. But the way I brain it, said the launchie, I be the best soldier I can, and any commander worth a damn he take me. Eh? Ender said, finality. They went on with practice, about half hour into it, and when they were practicing throwing off collisions with frozen soldiers, several commanders in different uniforms came in. They ostentatiously took down names. Hey! Shouted Ally. Make sure you spell my name right! The next night there were even fewer boys. Now Ender was hearing the stories. Little launchies getting slapped around in the bathrooms, or having accidents in the mess hall and the game room, or getting their files trashed by older boys who had broken the primitive security systems that guarded the launchies' desks. No practice tonight, Ender said. Hell there's not, said Ally. Give it a few days. I don't want any of the little kids getting hurt. If you stop even one night, they'll figure it works to do this kind of thing. Just like if you've ever back down to Bernard when he was being a swine. Besides, Shen, we aren't scared and we don't care, so you owe it to us to go on. We need to practice, and so do you. Ender remembered what Dink had said. The game was trivial compared to the whole world. Why should anybody give every night of his life to this stupid game? We don't accomplish much anyway. Ender said. He started to leave. Ally stopped him. They scare you too. They slap you up in the bathroom, stick your head in the pisser. Somebody got a gun up your bum. No, Ender said. You're still my friend, said Ally, more quietly. Yes. Then I still your friend, Ender, and I stay here and practice with you. The older boys came again, but a few of them were commanders. Most of them were members of a couple of armies. Ender recognized salamander uniforms, even a couple of rats. They didn't take names this time. Instead, they mocked and shouted and ridiculed as the launchies tried to master difficult skills with untrained muscles. It began to get to a few of the boys. Listen to them, Ender said to the other boys. Remember their words. If you ever want to make your enemy crazy, shout that kind of stuff to them. It makes them do dumb things. To be mad. We don't get mad. Shen took the idea to heart, and after each giant from the launcher boys, he had a group of 4 launchies recite the words, loudly, 5 or 6 times. When they started singing the taunts like nursery rhymes, some of the older boys launched themselves from the wall and came out for a fight. The flash shoots were designed for wars fought with harmless light. They offered little protections and seriously hampered movement if it came to hand-to-hand fighting in Nullo. Half of the boys were flashed anyway and couldn't fight, but the stiffness of their suits made them potentially useful. Ender quickly ordered his launchies together in one corner of the room. The older boys laughed at them even more, and some who had waited by the wall came forward to join in the attack, seeing Ender's group in retreat. Ender decided to throw a frozen soldier in the face of the enemy. The frozen launchie struck helmet first, and the two carrooned off each other. The older boy clutched his chest in pain where the helmet had hit him, and screamed his pain. The mockery was over. The rest of the older boys launched themselves to enter the battle. Ender didn't really have much hope of any of the boys getting away without some injury. But the enemy was coming haphazardly, uncoordinatedly. They had never worked together before, while Ender's little practice army, though there were only a dozen of them now, knew each other well and knew how to work together. Go Nova! Shouted Ender. The boys laughed. The other boys laughed. They gathered into 3 groups. Feet first squatting, hands holding hands so they formed small stars against the back wall. We'll go around them and make for the door. Now! At his signal, the 3 stars burst apart, each boy launching in a different direction, but angled so he could rebound off a wall and hit for the door. Since all the animals were in the middle of the room, where course changes were far more difficult, it was an easy maneuver to carry out. Ender had positioned himself so that when he relaunched, he would run away with his frozen soldiers that he had just used as a missile. Oh, okay, yeah, the sleepiness is definitely kicking in. Yeah, I think I'm actually pretty sleepy. So let's hopefully think maybe we can just end it early, I guess. In the meantime, the furious and this unfortunate the boy wasn't frozen now, and he let Ender catch him, whirled him around, and sent him toward the door. Unfortunately, the necessary result of the action was for Ender to hit in the opposite direction, and at a reduced speed. Alone of all the soldiers, and at the reduced speed, he was drifting fairly slowly, and at the end of the battle room where the older boys were gathered, he shifted himself so he could see that all his soldiers were safely gathered at the far wall. In the meantime, the furious and disorganized enemy had just spotted him, and they calculated how he could just reach the wall so that he could launch again. Not soon enough. Several enemies had already been rebounded toward him. Ender was startled to see still some space among them. Then he shuddered and realized he had been wrong. Still, it was the same realization, and this time they wouldn't sit still for single combat settlement. There was no leader as far as Ender knew, and these boys were a lot bigger than him. Still, he had learned some things about weight shifting in personal combat class, and about the physics of moving objects. Game battles almost never got to hand-to-hand combat. You never bump into his enemies until you were frozen, unless you were frozen yourself. So in a few seconds he had ended tried to position himself to receive his guesses. Fortunately, they knew as little about nullo fighting as he did, and the first who tried to punch him found that throwing a punch is pretty ineffective when their bodies move backwards just as quickly as their fists move forward. Ender quickly but there were some in the group who had bone breaking in their minds, as Ender quickly saw. He didn't plan for those to be there though. He caught one of the punchers by the arm and threw him as hard as he could. It hurled Ender out of the way of the rest of the first onslaught, though he still wasn't getting any closer to the door. "Stay here! Stay there!" he shouted to his friends, who obviously were forming up to come and rescue him. "Just stay there!" Someone caught Ender by the foot. The tight grip gave Ender some leverage. He was able to stand firmly on the other boy's ear and shoulders, letting him cry out and let go. If the boy had let go, I'm sorry, it's actually getting very hard to realize that. Would have hurt him much less and allowed Ender to use the movement as a launch. Instead, the boy had hung on to his sword, his ear torn and scattering blood in the air, and Ender was drifting even more slowly. I'm not doing it again, thought Ender. I'm hurting people again, just to save myself. Why don't they leave me again, so that I don't have to bother them? Okay. Sure enough, they took the bait. Ender grasped the shoulders of the third boy's shirt and pulled him up sharply, butting him in the face with his helmet. Again, a scream and a shower of blood. The two boys who had his legs were wrenching at them, twisting him. Ender threw the little boy in with the bleeding nose at one of them. The entangled and oh, hello, Francie. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm reading in this game, but I am currently quite tired, so I may end the stream slightly early so that I can, take a nap. I'm really sorry for this, but enjoy this Ace Combat music. I hope you're doing fine anyway, Patsy. Yeah, I just kind of made this announcement 5 minutes before the stream started. So, yeah, we're at End This Game Part 4, and we've gone through quite a fair bit. He didn't get that good a launch, so his speed was nothing special, but it didn't matter. No one was following him. He got to his friends at the door. They caught him and handed him along to the door. They were laughing and slapping him playfully. "You bad," they said. "You scary. You flame. Practice is over for the day. They'll be back tomorrow. Won't do them any good." Said Ender, "If they come without suits, we'll do this again. If they come with suits, we can flash them." "Besides," said Ally, "the teachers won't let it happen." Ender remembered what Link had told him and wondered if Ally was right. "Hey Ender," shouted one of the older boys as Ender left the battle. "You're nothing, man! You be nothing!" "My old commander Bonzo," said Ender. "I think he doesn't like me." 4 boys turned up on a medical report. One with bruised ribs. Oh, I see. I have to switch account for some reason the other account is not working. Ah, yeah, that happened the last time you were watching Halo Infinite, right? Yeah. No issues. What I meant to say was I'm probably going to go and end the stream slightly early, around 4:10, once this chapter ends, so that at least I can get some rest. I know it's a bit silly, but I have been working and I am kind of tired, so I probably will just take a rest. One with bruised ribs, one with a bruised testicle, one with a torn ear, and one with a broken nose and a loose tooth. The cause of injury was the same in all cases: accidental collision in null G. If the teachers were allowing that to turn up on the report, it was obvious that they didn't intend to punish anyone for the nasty little skirmish in the battle room. Aren't they going to do anything? Don't they care what goes on in this school? No, basically we were just reading in this game. I think you were. I'm not sure if you were here for the last 3 part, but if you are interested in catching up to the story of Ender's Game, you can check out the VODs in the description. You can check out the reading stream VOD that I put up in my channel. I'm really yawning. It's a bit silly, but you know what? Since he was back to the barracks earlier than usual, Ender called up the fantasy game on his desk. It had been a while since he last used it. Long enough that it didn't start him where he had left off. Instead, he began by the giant's corpse, only now it was hardly identifiable as a corpse at all, unless you stood off a ways and studied it. The body had eroded into a hill, entwined with grass and vines. Only the crest of the giant's face was still visible, and it was white bone, like limestone protruding from a discouraged, withering mountain. Ender did not look forward to fighting with the wolf children again, but to his surprise they weren't there. Perhaps killed once, they were gone forever. It made him a little sad. He made his way underground, through the tunnels, to the cliff edge overlooking the beautiful forest. Again he threw himself down, and again a cloud caught him and carried him into the castle turret. The snake began to unweave itself from the rock again, only this time Ender did not hesitate. He stepped on the head of the snake and crushed it under his foot. It writhed and twisted under him, and in response he twisted and grounded deeper into the stone floor. Finally it was still. Ender picked it back up and the rock was gone. Then, still dragging the snake behind him, he began to look away for a way out. Instead, he found a mirror, and in the mirror he found a face that he easily recognized. It was Peter, with blood dripping down on his chain and a snake's tail protruding from the corner of his mouth. Ender shouted and thrust his desk from him. The few boys in the barracks were alarmed at the noise, but he apologized and told them it was nothing. They went away. He looked again into his desk. His figure was still there, staring into the mirror. He tried to pick up some of the furniture to break the mirror, but it could not be moved. To break the mirror would not come off the wall either. Finally, Ender threw the snake at it. The mirror was shattered, leaving a hole in the wall behind it. Out of the hole came thousands of tiny snakes, which quickly bit Ender's figure again and again, tearing the snakes frantically from itself. The figure collapsed and died in a beating heap of small serpents. The screen went black. The words appeared. Play again? Ender signed off and put the desk away. The next day, several commanders came to Ender or sent soldiers to tell him not to worry. Most of them, through the extra practice sessions, were a good idea. He should keep it up and make sure that nobody bothered him. They were sending a few of their older soldiers who needed extra practice to come join him. They're as big as most of the buggers who attacked him last night. They'll think twice. Instead of 12 boys, there were 45 that night, more than an army. And whether it was because of the presence of the older boys on Ender's side, or because they had enough in the night before, none of their enemies came. Ender didn't go back to the fantasy game, but lived in his dreams. He kept remembering how it felt to get killed, to kill the snake, grinding it in, the way he tore the ear off that boy, the way he destroyed Stilson, the way he broke Bernard's arm, and then stand up, holding the corpse of the enemy. Then find Peter's face looking at him. The corpse of his enemy. Then find Peter's face looking out at him from the mirror. This game knows too much about me. This game tells filthy lies. I am not Peter. I do not have murder in my heart. And then a worse fear that he was a killer, only better at it than Peter ever was. It was this very trait that pleased the teachers. It's killers they need for the bugger wars. It's people who can grind the enemy's face into dust and splatter their blood all over the airspace. Well, I'm your man. I'm the bloody bastard you wanted when you had me spawned. I'm your tool. And what difference does it make if I hate the part of me that you need the most? What difference does it make? I'm saying like random poetry stuff. So we are now at chapter 9, and now it's 4:02. I think for today, because I'm extra sleepy and I don't really have the energy to put on, we will save chapter 9 for the next session. I think Lock and Demo Stays should be a short session. But sure, let me just check up. Nope, it's actually fairly long. Yeah, it's pretty long. It's Oh, the chapter. Oh, the chapter is a long freaking chapter. It's from 184 to 227. So yeah, this is gonna take a while, and I don't think I can. I'm so sorry, Pradeep. I know it's not that good because I say I wanted to end this. I kind of wanted to stream for a bit longer, but with the length of this chapter, I don't think I'll be able to finish it. So yeah, I guess that's it from me today. That's I'm really sorry that this is a very short reading session. The next time this happens, I assure you it will be much longer, definitely because of the next chapter, and I'll be more awake. It's just that I've been quite busy the last few days with work and managing stuff like armor operations and just hanging out with people. So I've been very tired lately. Yeah, I've also been like, I think like the last few streams I also have been having problems motivating myself with streaming, but that's always the usual thing. I just gotta figure out like how do I what is it already? How do I keep conversations interesting? So I am just kind of bouncing around and figuring out what better that I can provide for you guys. Like I can ask you right now, is there anything else better I can do? Like I'm not sure, because you sometimes come to my stream, so I'm interested to hear like the people who do stay around for my stuff. Like, what do you think about the way I stream? Because, well, it may serve my ego, but it does help me. It does help me. What's it called? what's it called? I don't remember already. It helps me figure out a way to move forward. Then again, because I always like to ask or at least insist that that you guys give me feedback, but I feel like at the same time that is kind of forced. So nah, it's not nice actually to just force you guys to fill out the form or whatnot because I don't know, like I just kind of like hang around talking and discussing. Yeah, that's always something that we could do a lot more often because whenever I play video games, it's always just me and my one track mind. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too self-centered. We'll see when the proper stream comes around next week. Either I'm playing Arma with a bunch of friends, or Halo more Halo Infinite, or trying out a new game. Let's just see what happens. I suppose we won't really know until it happens. And yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much. Thank you, Pratt, for coming to the stream. I did not. I kind of. It was kind of my fault for leaving this out in the open, but you know what? I guess that's okay. And in that case, thank you everyone for coming to the stream. This marks the end for the stream for this week. So tomorrow, as usual, I'll probably have a schedule up, and I hope you guys will. Hope you guys can look forward to the rest of the streams. It's 4:06 time tucking. So yeah. Thanks, Pratt, for coming to the stream. I hope next time. I hope Tuesday and Wednesday you can make it for the streams because those are usually my normal streams. Yeah, thanks for the stream. Have a good sleep. Thank you so much for the good sleep. Thank you so much. You're such a sweet person. And with that, go be your day, man. I hope you have a good rest. Bye bye.